Batya Ungar Sargon, opinion editor at Newsweek. Jenna Arnold served as Biden's surrogate in 2020, organized the 2017 Women's March on Washington. Ladies, good to see both of you. Thank you. Jenna, did Democrats underestimate Republicans' resolve in the Federalist Society?
I think Democrats and Republicans did. Often, both in the 2016 and 2020 election, in conversations with people in swing counties and swing states, which is where I currently reside, one of the things that kept coming up was, oh, don't worry, Roe won't be touched. I'm fiscally conservative, but socially liberal. Nobody thought this was going to be touched. Now, there are activists who have been on the front lines for decades who are raising the flags. Decades. Who are raising the flags about this. And so like you, Leland, when I saw what came out last night, I sort of shrugged my shoulders and I said, well, where have you all been? The writing was on the wall for a very long time on this.
Batya, I'm thinking about sort of what also the media missed in this and what the elites of the Democratic Party missed in this. From the New York Times, what Democrats don't understand about rural America, a 2,633rd page 2,633rd word op-ed. I thought about it. You could have written what Democrats do understand about rural America in 0 words. It would have been a lot more concise.
First of all, Leland, that introduction was just phenomenal. Really, really well done. Look, to me, abortion is the quintessential issue that shows how the polarization that exists in America is an elite phenomenon and how it kind of evaporates when you ask Americans what they want. So it looks like a really polarized issue, right? 50% of Americans say they're pro-life, 50% say they're pro-choice. But when you drill down deeper, 60% of pro-choice people only think it should be legal in the first trimester, which of course Roe goes way further than that. And 75% of people who are pro-life think there should be exceptions for rape, incest, and the health of the mother. Yeah. So you have 80% agreement among 80% of Americans. So what do our politicians do? One side says, we're going to be the side that pushes for abortions until the 9th month. And the other side says, we're going to be the side that wants to put you in jail if you fall down and have a miscarriage, right? Total disconnect between the American people who are quite unified on this topic and their elites.
Yeah, no, Jenna, I see you nodding your head for this. The reaction on the left, it's actually been pretty amazing how well done the comms plan was. As you say, I think many Democrats expected this come June or July when the Supreme Court was going to issue its decision. So they pulled the comms plan off the shelf, had the tweets ready. Among them, Amy Klobuchar talking about how now we need to have federal legislation that legalizes abortion. To Batya's point, if you think about from 1975 to 2021, percentage of Democrats who believe abortion should be legal under any circumstance more than doubled to half its base. 1975, 19%, 2021, 50%. Any cases all the way up until the 9th month. Are Democrats, especially in Congress, allowing perfect or sort of the more radical part of the party to keep them from getting a victory on this?
No, as you pointed out at the top of this segment, that it has been a Republican objective to take advantage of the conversation around women's reproductive rights as soon as they lost the fight around segregation in the 1970s and make it political. This has nothing to do with morality. When you look at how so many Christian communities are interpreting pro-choice and access to abortion, it is pretty clear, as both of you have pointed out. Most of Americans agree on the same subject. It has just been highly politicized by the right. And I would argue, being in the state of Pennsylvania, and I know these voters intimately, that oftentimes they will just hide behind this subject because they don't want to talk about taxes and they don't want to talk about Medicare and Medicaid.
Yeah, Batya, how did we get to the point where abortion that was something that was not really talked about and was dealt with privately sort of on either side has become such a public issue and such one that people are willing to take extreme positions on?
I think Jenna just hit the nail on the head. They don't want to talk about taxes. They don't want to talk about the fact that the vast majority of Americans are living lives of total economic precarity. Neither side wants to talk about that, actually. So instead, they pick this cultural battle and, again, erase the people that Jenna's actually speaking about, people who are maybe economically liberal but socially conservative, which is actually a lot of the Democrats' base, who never gets any representation from either side.
Yeah, thinking about this going forward, Jenna, there's no way there's going to be a vote that's going to give federal protections to abortions. There's not even 50 votes, much less the 60 to get through a filibuster. Do Democrats really have any options other than to take this one on the chin and try to regroup?
You know, Leland, I at this moment, I'm certainly at a loss, but I was at a loss back in December, and I was at a loss when I was doing research for my book and realized that the Republican Party had co-opted this particular subject, which, as you pointed out, as had the Supreme Court previously, that these are matters that are meant to be dealt with in a private capacity. And taking it on the chin is not like, oh, what a bummer, we're going to increase taxes by 1% in this direction for corporations that don't pay taxes to begin with. No, this is absolutely horrifying. This is, if they come for us in the morning, they're going to come for you at night. Alito pointed out in this draft that he was also calling into question same-sex marriage. He was calling into question so many of the other components of the fabric of our country. I mean, this isn't just like oh, darn.
Right. Well,
this is a restricting a family's decision to make
totally changing
about their family's welfare.
Well, it's sending that back to the courts if it's sending that back to the states.
But you and I both know that if this gets passed, there's trigger laws in 13 states. It's going to be well over half the country.
Right, and we have to be accurate that what this does is send it back to the states. Here's President Biden today on that issue. Take a listen.
There's so many fundamental rights that are affected by that, and I'm not prepared to leave that to the whims and the public at the moment.
Leave that to the whims of the public, as if, God forbid, the American voters get what they want in the states they live in. We are not prepared to make our own decisions. The president must save us from ourselves.
Are you looking for me to respond?
No, I was giving it to Batya.
I think that was just a convenient clip that you pulled when he pointed out that he's not going to touch the filibuster. But Leland, I mean, I really appreciate you putting this conversation at the top of your show, because I think everyone should be looking at each other and seriously considering, what about the conveniences in their lives would they not be willing to live without? And I am telling you with absolute accuracy that they are at risk.
Well, I think there's certainly agreement that this will change everything. Batya, last to you. Do you think the reaction on the left would have or would be different had it not been a leak, had this just been dropped as the opinion and the decision of the court?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's clear that the people that the Democrats now see as their base, which is, white, upper class, suburban moms and, coastal elites, care a lot about this issue. And so I think that this level, you would have seen this same, level of hysteria. I mean, Elizabeth Warren sort of being on the verge of tears. I don't think that was related to the leak, but it related to, what she Exactly. Yeah. Although I do have to make a little correction. I believe that this decision is very clear that this is not meant to be seen as in any way comparable to same-sex marriage or interracial marriage, which don't involve a third party.
But if he makes sure that this is in the language of the draft, how can we not raise flags about that?
Right. I think you both make a great point. It may not be in the language of the draft, but as we said, that the Federalist Society's desire and its purpose, the end is not the end of Roe. The end of Roe is the beginning, and go on from there. Agree or disagree, they've been quite successful over the past 40 years, and this is really what they viewed as the start of the war, not the end. Batya, Jenna.
Yeah, but I just have to say, just quickly, Leland, I don't think it's fair to say that. I mean, so many half of Americans oppose abortion. Half of Americans don't oppose same-sex marriage anymore, and certainly don't oppose interracial marriage. So I don't really buy the slippery slope. Thank you so much for having us.
It's interesting. We got Bill O'Reilly coming up, and that we're going to go the other way. Is that do Republicans risk overplaying their hand here if they do get this ruling and motivating a group of people?
The hand has been played. It's so important to remember that the Republican right took this subject after they lost segregation.
Jenna, I got to get onto the polling, but thank you both. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.